Then it is my pleasure to call to order Advisory Finance Committee meeting number 26 of fiscal year 21. Today is the 29th of April. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Westborough Advisory Finance Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Westborough's website, www.town.westborough.ma.us. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so in the following manner. Watch live on youtube.com/Westborough TV or on Westborough TV, Verizon Channel 28 or Charter Channel 192. Or watch a recorded version on the website westboroughTV.org under the Government tab, Meetings on Demand. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort is being made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceeding in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Town of Westborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Well, good evening, everyone. First order of business is the minutes of last Monday.
Motion to approve the minutes of April 24th?
6th.
Sorry. The minutes of April 26th, 2021.
There a second?
Bradley, second.
Any discussion?
Walter, you're impressive.
Very much so, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very comprehensive.
I mean, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing because they may think we don't need an admin.
I'll start screwing up after we're done with this town meeting.
All right. If there's no discussion, we'll go to a vote alphabetically. Beretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Hank?
Oh, you're muted, Hank.
Yep, Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Okay, so tonight's plan was to go through the warrant articles, the financial aspects of them, and also the two modified ones, the poultry
And the town seal
has been adjusted, and the town seal. And I think what I will tell you, will tell all of you now, is that we will not go through the R&R draft tonight because I was unable to secure a time with Leah until tomorrow morning. And I'm actually going to meet with Leah and Christy, and we're going to go through the numbers. I did fill in a lot of numbers, but I want to make absolutely sure we're correct. And I want to be able to correctly answer a couple of the issues that Hank brought up with respect to free cash and the enterprise funds. And we have an agreement to develop a joint statement about the windfall amounts for Chapter 70 and also the American Recovery Act money from the feds. And we'll get that all ironed out tomorrow between me and Christy and Alan Endenberg.
Okay.
So Monday night, I think I will be able to give you a final draft subject to your edits. I've already made some changes. Some of you suggested some wording changes, and I thought they were appropriate, so I went ahead and did it. And I'm hoping that by Monday, late morning, early afternoon, you will have in front of you the narrative again, if not sooner,
Okay.
depending on what I can get to on it this weekend. Is that okay with everybody? So
Yeah.
tonight we're just going to review the warrant articles that have been signed and stamped. Okay.
So,
Yes, go ahead.
having not had a chance to read the poultry article, which is a fairly long article, do we know if the changes were just minor tweaks or they're significant?
I do not know.
I watched the selectmen's meeting, and you're welcome to do that. They spent an hour on this topic, actually slightly over. At one point, the changes were more substantial, but they decided not to. Some of that, including like having to get a permit for your chickens. My general impression is where they ended up is pretty similar, but I don't think it would be ridiculous for us to wait till Monday if we want.
Thank you. That was what I was going to request, is just to give me real time to read it. So if we could if we could knowingly just delay the poultry article till Monday.
We could delay the poultry until Monday. We could delay the town seal if you'd like till Monday. The wording has been changed on that as well.
I didn't know if it was as long.
Yeah, no, that one's very short, and I think you could probably read that if you were given 30 seconds.
Right. I mean, that was my main concern, was the differences between the two. I can't glance through the poultry fast enough.
Okay, so why don't we hold the poultry until Monday, and we'll see where we get as far as the town seal is concerned this evening. Any objections?
No.
Okay, then let's begin with Article number 3. Article number 3. We'll skip 1 and 2 until we have all the numbers finalized. Okay. So do I have a motion to recommend approval of Article number 3?
Article 3 has all the parts. Sorry, I just lost it. The ABCs. Can we just do a quick, are we good with all of, can you go through and ask all of them, or just do them by part? Because I think the restocking Sandra Pond doesn't need to be unanimous to still be approved.
Yeah. I'm reluctant to just do a blanket approval of all of those capital equipment ones.
Fine.
We've always taken individual votes on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
We do 3A, 3B, 3C.
Right.
perfect. That's what I wanted to
Yep.
hear.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Let's
you.
do that.
Mhm.
Okay, so can I have a motion with respect to Article 3A,
Okay,
reserve funds for the Finance Advisory Committee?
I move that we recommend the towns approve to transfer the sum of $250,000 or any such amount, $250,000 from free cash for the Finance Committee General Reserve Fund, transfer $50,000 or from the water retained earnings for the Water Enterprise Reserve Fund, transfer $50,000 from the sewer retained earnings for the Sewer Enterprise Reserve Fund, in accordance with Section 6 of Chapter 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Did I actually say recommend that the town vote too? But that should be in there.
It's okay, Beth, you're good. We have a second. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll vote alphabetically. Baretti, yes.
Or yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Hank,
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
I have 900. Okay, moving on. Article 3B, restocking Sandra Pond.
Do we have a new amount on this?
Yeah,
Have a new amount, and it's indicated in the article.
$7,280.
And I'm wondering what the change is.
It was,
Alter, go ahead.
8,000.
it was explained at the selectmen's meeting that is because they did get donations for part of it, so they don't need the full 8,000.
Okay, beautiful.
It is still for 2 years.
So the last version, version 8, we saw 17,000, and the new version, version 9, nope,
No, 8.
8,000. Okay,
Sandra Pond.
Okay, second.
thank
who's
you.
gonna motion?
Gotcha.
We recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $7,280 for the purpose of restocking Sandra Pond in both 2021 and 2022.
There a second.
But it's total. I want to be careful that the wording of that sentence is
You could
a
just
total
say
of
as
for
worded.
both years, not each year.
Okay, but you could just say as worded in the warrant.
As worded in the motion?
Might I suggest you call that fiscal year 21 and 22?
Okay, I accept that amendment.
There a
Second.
to the amendment. Thank you, Hank.
I accept
Any
that.
discussion on this?
The only thing I'll say is that I would vote no on that amount because I only want to vote 1 year at a time.
So which
Okay.
amount would you vote no on?
That, whatever that it was.
Well, do you want to split the motion in 2 years? I am fine with that.
Hang on. Let me find out what Paul, go ahead.
I wouldn't vote for that amount because it's supposed to be for 2 years. And I only think we should be voting on 1 year at a time. They should either pay last year back or pay next year forward, but be consistent every year. So that's not a big thing, but.
Well, last year we cut it. We deliberately cut it in the last warrant.
There's no reason we have to have a unanimous vote here. And it's, if we have a split vote, it's nice to explain to the voters what the reasoning was.
That's fair too.
I think
it'd be strange to split it because it's our job to recommend whether you vote for the thing.
No, we.
no, I didn't mean-
Hey, no talking over each other, guys. Give each other a chance to finish.
I did not suggest that we split the numbers or recreate that. It's just that we don't have to vote unanimously.
Right.
We don't always deliver unanimous votes on each of the items.
I agree, but someone did suggest already that we split it in two, and that's what I was talking about, not your discussion.
But we should remember that we are not allowed to change the warrant. We can recommend anything we want, but it's not going to change the warrant, and it's not going to change the motions.
Yep, and I wasn't looking to change it either. I was just going to vote against it.
All right. I will say to you, well, since we know we have a negative vote, if there is sufficient dissent or strong dissent by more than one or two people, then I think that our vote should have an appendix or an appendix
A comment.
as to what the comment as to what the dissenting opinion was.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough?
Fair.
All right. So any further discussion on restocking Sandra Pond? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Lumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, no.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
So 810.
I think you should still comment because I only didn't join Paul because he is dissenting.
Okay.
I felt like mine was a reluctant yes.
Paul, if you wish to dissent, have a dissenting opinion shown in our vote, you want to send it to me by email?
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Article 3C, tuition reimbursement. May I have a motion?
I vote to recommend that the town meeting vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $14,000 for the purposes in this article in the warrant.
Is there a second?
Siddiqui second.
Fine.
Siddiqui second. Discussion.
Yes, it's just, Jody should say I move, not I vote, I think.
Oh, I meant to say I move. I'm sorry. I think I said I move to recommend. I guess I'm recommending to the way the town meeting should vote, but I move to recommend.
You said I vote to recommend, so.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
really, and you know what? We can complete the motion too, to raise and appropriate the sum of $14,000 for the purpose of funding employee tuition reimbursement.
Bradley, second.
Okay,
Wait a minute, we seconded twice. Okay. So we changed.
all right.
The amended
Any-
version.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Lundberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Moving on.
I
Article,
move to recommend that the town raise and appropriate through the Cable TV Enterprise Fund the sum of $300,000 for the purpose of funding the fiscal year 22 cable TV budget.
is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Just an observation that this is a zero impact on the town budget. The wording doesn't make that immediately obvious because I think where the money is coming from.
But the article information is clear.
Agreed.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Lundberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Moving on. Article 4, July 4th block party. May I have a motion?
I move to recommend the town vote to raise and I move to recommend the town transfer for free cash the sum of $2,500 for the purposes of the July 4th committee under the direction of the Board of Select. I'm concerned that what they talked about this possibly being Labor Day or some other event.
I've heard nothing to the contrary of July 4th.
Okay.
It's expended by the July 4th committee. The date is never on July 4th anyway.
I guess that was my concern, you know,
It's like a week, it's a Friday before typically.
but I didn't know if we would be COVID-free enough that they would be comfortable doing a party yet.
Well, if the governor speaks as he will tomorrow about outside mask wearing, it may be a moot point.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and
Any
we're
other
just voting
discussion?
to raise and we're just voting to raise and appropriate. We're not voting to spend.
Okay.
Well,
All right, was that a motion or a discussion?
It was a motion.
Okay.
Nobody seconded it, but it was the motion.
let's be clear. The article says raise and appropriate or transfer from free cash.
And I put transfer, my motion, my recommendation, which you guys can choose to not vote on, is transfer from free cash. This is $2,500.
Yeah, and it was also in the, that's the way Paul put it in our table too. And so that's calculated into
Yeah.
the numbers
cash.
we're looking at.
It's how
Yeah, some of
Leah
these still,
put
so
it
if you
in.
look at these, some of them still say raise and appropriate or transfer.
That's for legal, that's for
Legal
compliance with legal requirements.
Yeah.
It's a
Some of them, it's-
technicality. The motion on the town meeting floor should be to transfer from free cash.
Yeah. So that's what my motion was.
Yeah, and in fact, the document we all got from Leah shows that the 2,500 is a transfer from free cash.
Yeah.
So do we have a second? Did somebody second that?
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion. I have one comment. We need a party.
Right. I wasn't sure when we need it, but we need one.
We need it. As a town, we need it. Okay. Any other discussion or comments?
This is just seed money. This doesn't pay for the whole thing, as far as I understand, right, Walter?
Well, yeah, various, exactly. Yes, various groups donate to it. They raise money
Okay.
through various.
Does it become a fundraiser at the end of the day, or is it a break even generally?
It's not a fundraiser. It's different groups like Rotary or Civic Club and Lions or other people are asked to donate certain things or show up and participate.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean,
So we should somehow figure a way to thank those community organizations that actually step up, because there's no way we're paying for a party for the town with this little money.
No, there isn't, but we will. Walter, can we note that in the minutes that
we should thank
the
people.
sense of the AFC, that we thank all of those organizations that are involved in pulling this together?
I almost want to put that into the R&R.
Is that our role?
You
It's
really
not our
can't.
role.
Not our role.
No?
And it's irrelevant. It's not our role. It has nothing to do with the town meeting. Has nothing to do with this article.
Okay. Let's move on
Okay.
to a vote. Beretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Okay, moving to Article 5, Lake Chauncey treatment.
I move to recommend the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $17,000 for the purpose of a copper sulfate treatment for algae in Lake Chauncey.
Siddiqui, second.
Second, we have a second discussion.
I was surprised that wasn't free cash.
It's not a long-term item. It's a single shot.
Right, but that's why I was surprised it wasn't free cash.
They
Oh,
like
that's a,
spending free cash on things that have longer duration.
no, free cash is for one-time purchases usually.
Yeah.
Yes, of
Right.
duration, like capital, like the study has long duration.
Oh, okay.
The algae treatment's good for a couple months.
You know, there is a question here. Remember, town meeting was supposed to be March 15th, the middle of
Right.
March. And the question is, will the study interrupt any of the use?
The study is the next.
Hang on, Beth. Let me finish for 1 sec. Will this study interrupt any of the use of Lake Chauncey while the study is in progress?
So the study is a separate article?
That's the next.
That's the next article.
One article.
So to go back to that, the treatment is to try and keep the algae blooms down this year.
Yes.
Correct.
It is a chronic and recurring problem. The study is to take a comprehensive look of the sources of the
Algae.
chemicals that are causing the algae blooms.
Okay.
So they're not
No.
connected.
It's not connected. Okay.
Yep.
So,
And the normal, from a science background, the study is not going to affect the use because the study is just literally taking lots of measurements of what's going on.
okay.
The purpose of the study is to determine where the phosphorus
Sources.
and other nutrients are coming from from.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with using the town beach.
Yeah, I think it's just a sequencing of the articles. Okay, so any other comments on Article 5, the treatment?
So is that one supposed to be then for a raise and appropriate for 17,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, hearing no other discussion, we'll move to a vote. Beretti, yes.
Lundberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. All right, now we're on to Article 6, which is the nutrient evaluation study of Lake Chauncey.
I move to recommend the town vote to raise and, so is this one raise and appropriate or is this one free cash?
Free cash.
This is
This one's
transfer from free cash.
I move to recommend the town transfer from free cash the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of a nutrient study for Lake Chauncey as written in the article.
There a second?
Bradley, second.
Discussion.
I just want to point out that on the warrant worksheet that we are following, we have this listed as the proponent, the town manager, $25,000, and we put RNA in here, raise and appropriate, but you're telling me this one is planned for free cash.
I apologize. I don't have all documents open simultaneously.
In Leah's document, Article 5 was raise and appropriate, Article 6 is free cash.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
I also have a question. Are we certain that with as many studies and grants out there for such causes, we've exhausted everything with regard to getting a grant for this study?
I don't have an answer to that. I can find out, but I'm sure, you know.
They have been proposing this study for a long time because the algae blooms are a chronic problem. They close the beach, and we're never going to be able to tackle the algae blooms unless we have a study. So I know they've been discussing it for several years. I can't imagine they haven't looked for sources of money. It has been suggested that a lot of the lands around the lake are public lands, so we should be partnering with the state on the state-owned lands. But I A, don't think they want to delay, and B, I'm skeptical that they wouldn't have looked for other sources of funding.
Yeah,
I'm the liaison. Can I?
This work.
All right, Paul, go ahead.
I'm the liaison. I talked to the Conservation Commissioner and reported back that they did look into whether the state would consider funding, or if they had, you know, if they had a way to do it themselves or something else. And they got nowhere with that. And he did talk to I don't have the names in front of me. He did talk to the appropriate person. And then where it was left was that Christie was going to appeal to our representatives to see if there was any pockets for this or any way to do it. But in the meantime, we have to assume that probably, you know, that may not come through. So that's about as much as we have from them, unless something's changed.
But even, I'm just thinking, it doesn't necessarily be state funds, federally and profit, nonprofit, there's got to be organizations that would be interested in the evaluation of this as well and might be willing to contribute. I was just curious. That's all.
Yeah, I was surprised when they hadn't pursued even the state angle. And so, you know, it does leave me also a little.
Environmental budgets have been cut and cut for years.
Hang on, let Paul finish.
I always wonder if we've exhausted all sources or if we've been creative enough, but that's where, as far as they've gone, sorry.
Yeah, I just, having used to be in toxicology, environmental studies monies are very dried up in general. And so like something like this, it's just really hard to find funds for unless you happen to know a wealthy pocket.
So, go ahead, Hank.
We have a fairly competent conservation director,
Yeah.
and he's the person who is proposing the study and has done the work to see if there's any grants. Oh, by the way, yesterday was his last day of employment with the town of Westborough.
Oh, great.
Right.
So if the town meeting chooses not to fund this at this point in time, it will be probably a good 2 years before it comes up again, because they have to hire a new conservation director, and that individual has to go through the process of figuring out how to deal with the bureaucracy. And it's just not a huge amount of money. It's not worth delaying. I think you have to assume that the conservation director was pretty competent and looked at all possible places to get money.
Okay.
Paul, do you know, just to build on what Hank is saying, if Pulte was approached, since they're so close in their construction to the lake?
No, I don't. I don't think they were, because that was also suggested wherever that, I think it was from a joint meeting. And that was not reported back to me, so I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Pulte doesn't own any lakefront property.
But they sell the concept of lakefront living.
Yes, they do, because it's public property. The town of Westborough owns essentially owns the shoreline that is not owned by the town of Westborough is owned by the state of Massachusetts, DEP. So it's public property, 100% public access. So it's lakeside living because you got 100% public access, but Pulte doesn't own it.
Thank you, Hank. Any other conversation on this? Okay, so let's go to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, no.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
810. Melanie, if you'd like to express a dissenting opinion, can you send it to me by email, please?
Sure.
I think that's a valid dissenting opinion. If there are so many other entities that benefit, that they could be cost sharing on this.
That's claiming it without liability. That's awesome. Everybody wishes they could do such a thing.
It's a good point.
Thank you, folks. Okay, moving on to Article 7A. Capital expenditures. 7A is vehicle replacement for animal control. May I have a motion, please?
All right, I will go ahead and move that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $28,435 for the purpose of replacing, purchasing, and equipping a vehicle for animal control.
Is there a second?
Blumberg, yes. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. 7B, personal protective equipment for the fire department. May I have a motion, please?
All right, I will move to recommend that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $86,000 for the purpose of purchasing personal protective equipment for the fire department.
Second.
Bradley, second.
Bradley, second. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Paul, I know he switched from his cell phone to his computer. Paul,
He's connecting.
I just admitted him.
Okay, yeah, can you hear me? All right, I'll shut that off.
So we're waiting on your vote on 7B.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep,
Okay, great, thank you. I couldn't hear you for a minute.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
You need to vote on 7B.
7B is the PPE for the fire department, Paul.
Yeah, thank you. Am I on vote?
Your vote is awaited.
Are you a yes or no?
Eagle, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Okay, moving on. Article 7C, the replacement of engine number 2 for the fire department. This is a transfer from free cash and, or sorry,
Stabilization fund.
and transfer from, where is it here? I'm sorry, I lost it. The stabilization fund, the capital stabilization fund. May I have a motion, please?
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $378,662, and in addition, transfer from the capital stabilization fund the sum of $366,338 for the purpose of replacing, purchasing, or equipping a fire engine as written in the motion. It's written in the article, sorry.
May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Zaffer?
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Thank you. 7D, police cruiser replacements, and this is all free cash. May I have a motion?
I move to recommend that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $130,000 for the purpose of replacing and purchasing 2 police cruisers as written in the article warrant.
Second?
Bradley, second.
Thank you, Andrew. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. 7E, 1-ton utility truck with crane replacement. May I have a motion, please?
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $40,666, transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $40,667, and transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $40,667 for the purpose of replacing, purchasing, and equipping a 1-ton utility truck with crane as written in the warrant.
Is there a second?
Bradley, second.
Discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Hank?
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Article 7F.
I move to recommend the town transfer from free cash the sum of $80,006, transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $40,000, and transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $40,000 for the purpose of equipping 2 one-ton pickup trucks with plows as written in the warrant.
There a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Holmberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Siegel, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Moving on to 7G, may I have a motion, please? It's a loader replacement for the Department of Public Works.
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $66,666, transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $6,667, transfer from water retained earnings the sum of $6,667 for the purpose of replacing, purchasing, and equipping a loader as written in the warrant.
Your monetary amounts were off.
They were?
Your amounts were, yeah, you were saying 6,000 to
6,000.
Oh, as
66,000.
opposed to 66,000?
Yeah.
Sorry.
The last two.
Okay, so let me revise that, please, or friendly amendment. $66,667 from water retained and $66,667 from sewer retained. Sorry, Walter, is that okay?
Okay with me.
Bradley, second.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank
Walter will be going back to look at the video of this.
Check the video. No, I'm just kidding.
Video.
Well,
We all understand it is written in the warrant.
Yeah.
As written in the warrant,
And
yes.
there's nobody voting here under false assumption.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Siegel, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Article 7H, Building Condition Assessment. May I have a motion?
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $45,000 for the purpose of a building condition assessment study as written in the warrant.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Half of me wants them to just start fixing the buildings instead of studying it, but I guess studying it is smarter.
I think they would be better off.
Some of the buildings, like the Harvey building, may be better to demo them and replace them if needed. Harvey building's not used for anything.
Okay.
Some of the other buildings are kind of marginal, and we really don't know what it's going to take to fix them. So you really need to do a study to understand what has to be done, and do they really have to be brought up to the
Current code. So has a study been done in the last 20 years?
Is
To the
anybody-
best of my
Is this
knowledge, we've
just-
not done any.
What's that, Hank? Sorry.
To the best of my knowledge, we haven't done any of this kind of studies, professional outside people for any of these 3 buildings.
Okay.
And I'm familiar with at least 2 of them. I mean, the Forbes building is a fire trap, and the Harvey building is a disaster.
The study's
by
going
the
to
Boy
tell us
Scouts.
that.
Got a new roof, right, or something, yeah. Okay.
Well, it looks like Hank just saved us $40,000. We're all good.
That's what I think.
No. He left out the Westborough Golf Club.
You know, I think it's a good idea to plan what you're going to do before you jump in and do it. And there's going to be mixed opinions on every one of these buildings because they're near and dear to different constituencies. And getting the data and articulating the data is the best way to make a decision that's going to stand up.
Yeah.
When you use the terminology renovation, obviously we know what the golf club means, but the other two buildings, to renovate them, is there a purpose in reusing then if we renovate? Does this town have something in mind?
Not yet, right? I mean, that would be something out of the master plan, or a suggestion of somebody
each
building.
No, the master plan won't address these buildings specifically. The buildings, each have a use today.
Yeah,
The Harvey building is used mostly for storage. The Forbes community building is where the food pantry is, and it's also used for a wide variety of nonprofit activities. The Boy Scouts meet in there, other people meet in there. The Westborough Golf Club, of course, one part of it is the golf club, but the other part of it, we have a contract with we have a contract with a restaurant to that we own and maintain the building the restaurant operates in, totally independent of the golf club. So each of these buildings has a purpose. Not clear to me that the purpose is useful, but they have a purpose.
Walter has his hand up.
Walter, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I think it can be very expensive not to do a study. Not that many years ago, the town invested a lot of money in Nathan Fisher House without doing a thorough study first, and we ended up having to bail on it and sell the property off before we got there, because they discovered there were a lot more work to be done on that than made sense. And so for municipal buildings, I think that's also what our DPW director said. You figure out what it would take to work on it, to make those decisions, instead of just keep repairing or keep patching or keep doing this. So in the end, I think this actually saves money and is an intelligent way to go.
Yeah, I guess my question is one of these where, given the town owns the town owns a certain number of buildings, is how often, I think we've had a lot of neglect and delay. And if it hadn't been for COVID, I would see this as, okay, it's time and we're due. And I just want to see, what do we need to do to make this regular maintenance part of our thinking, instead of waiting so long that things are really bad before we look at them?
Well,
that's a separate.
We have a building and grounds department, which reports through some chain of command, the town manager, who reports to the Board of Selectmen. And through that chain of command, they're responsible for making sure these buildings are maintained and kept safe and usable by the community for their purpose.
Okay.
So that's who should be doing this stuff.
Right. Okay.
At the end of the day, it seems $45,000 is a
Money well spent.
Yeah, compared to the value or potential value of all of those properties.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
Only to say, building off of what Jody said earlier, I think in my mind is the crime would be if we did this study, we knew what would need to happen, and the town didn't step up with plans to address how to do them. I got the sense from the conversation from the town that this was going to allow them to make plans to better leverage these buildings. And to that end, I trust the people we have in power right now to follow through on that intent.
Right. And I mean, I'm in support of it, because if we had done regular assessments of the Spur House, we might not have ended up selling it.
Good point, Beth. Any other comments? Hearing none, we move to a vote. Beretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, abstain.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, no.
Say no, Paul?
No, yeah.
Yes, no.
Correct.
Correct. Okay, sorry. Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Dig, yes.
711. Paul, again, if you want to send a dissenting opinion, please do. Okay. Moving on. to Article 7I, high school gymnasium partition replacement.
I move to recommend the town transfer from free cash the sum of $245,900 for the purpose of removing and replacing the 2 high school gymnasium partitions as written in the warrant.
There a second?
Bradley, second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Baretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. 7J, the Hastings School sprinkler system installation. May I have a motion, please?
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $171,650 for the purpose of installing the Hastings School sprinklers or as written in the warrant.
There a second?
Bradley, second.
Discussion? Are we all clear on how they're going to fund this or proposing to fund it? Okay.
This is the one with money from previous articles, and this is an addition to complete the amount
Correct.
needed. Yes.
Any further comments? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Baretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Article 8, Open Space Fund. May I have a motion, please?
I move to recommend that the town vote to transfer from free cash the sum of $15,000 for the purposes of appraisals and surveying as written in the warrant.
Your second. Don't all rush.
Bradley, second.
Thank you, Andrew. Discussion?
Can I remember what 61A means?
I'm sorry. What is that, Melanie?
A chapter 61A property?
I think it's proper. I believe it's property that's under some kind of a restriction.
That gives town right of first refusal.
I'm not sure.
I'll do a quick look of
That
MGL.
gives the town right of first refusal. I'm not sure whether it's agricultural land and it's probably agricultural land because stuff that's under conservation restriction does not have a right of first refusal typically.
Yeah, it is. It's chapter 61A is the assessment and taxation of agricultural and horticultural land. Mass General Law, chapter 61A.
Thank you.
Yeah, so 61A land is land that is this is land that has been considered to be a farm, and as a farm, it is appraised at a much lower value than its value as
Houses.
as houses. And in exchange for that, we have right of first refusal to buy the property if it goes up for sale.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions or discussion?
Yes, I think I will vote against this, just to give you a warning. And the reason being, it doesn't have a real purpose, end game, and we have that, if there's an emergency comes up, something that they can take advantage of. We have the AFC fund, and we could slide
It
that
would have
money
to be
over
voted on by town meeting
We
though.
could slide that money over to the event, to the amount, whatever it might be. What might be more, might be less than this.
No, it has to go through town meeting.
But please stop talking over each other.
Paul, I don't believe that we can fund the Open Space Committee through a transfer because they have no operating budget. The transfers involve funding folks who have operating budgets that have been approved by the by the town meeting. Since the Open Space Committee doesn't have an operating budget, they'd have to come back to town meeting and ask for money. That could cause as much as a 6-month delay in trying to get an appraisal, and you might lose your opportunity to purchase the property. They certainly have to come to town meeting to get money to buy the property.
Right. I should have brought it up earlier.
Yeah.
I think if we go ahead with the vote, I'll abstain, and if we wait, maybe we could find out.
You can always ask to revote on this one. But so, yeah, the other piece of this is that this is like essentially setting a reserve fund because they don't use it unless a property comes up, and it's going from free cash and it returns to free cash at the end of the year if there was not a property that
Beth, I beg to differ. The money does not return to free cash at the end of the year. Once we make the transfer, it is set aside in a reserve account, and the Open Space Committee has discretion over its expenditure.
Even, okay, so this could last more than 1 year?
When to spend it.
So this can last more than 1 year?
It lasts it lasts ad infinitum until it's spent, or until the Open Space Committee says, well, we're never going to spend it, so you can have it back.
Okay.
I have my hand raised.
Yes, go ahead.
The open space interest groups, and there's several of them, the open space related committees usually do a pretty good job of keeping their ear to the ground around what lands may become available. And Westborough has always, highly valued preparing to purchase open space. And we made 2 major purposes, and as they purchases, and as they explained that this particular fund is depleted. So I guess I have some faith in these folks that some seed money now to take advantage of lands as they become available is good for the open space agenda. And it's always been something the town has really valued. So I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So the second part of my, go ahead, Hank, sorry.
We need to be aware that for the Open Space Committee to make a proposal to buy the land and to come to town meeting with a proposal to buy the land, they need to have a certified appraisal. The town is not allowed to pay more than fair market value as determined by a certified appraiser for property.
Well, that leads to my second point, in that we had an appraisal for the land across from the Eli Whitney house, and we spent, I think it was 2.5 times the appraisal. So I don't want to pre-fund an appraisal, I guess, right now because of that history, as well as not having a specific purpose.
And to Paul's point, we just expended a large sum of money for some parcels. If the Open Space Committee were so inclined, could they not fundraise if they saw something that was worth getting an appraisal on?
It's not part of their charter to be raising funds.
Okay.
They don't have a mechanism for accepting donations and raising funds. They're a committee that is a committee of the town and has official status.
Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, let's move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Ford, no.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, no.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
So we have 7-2-0. Again, if you want your dissent in the comments, please send me an email. Moving on, Article 9, body-worn cameras for the police department.
I move to recommend the town vote to raise, this one's transfer from free cash, sorry. I move to recommend the town transfer from free cash the sum of $25,176 for the purpose of purchasing body-worn cameras as written in the warrant.
Second,
Second.
any discussion on this? We recognize that there's an annual cost, a recurring cost of $26,000 a year to maintain this program.
Yeah, I mean, as we implement the body worn cameras, we will probably see the police department operating budget increase. And the FY22 operating budget will probably be hit with not only the $26,000 of cost, but also additional staff needed to deal with the results of using body worn cameras and having film that needs to be defended in legal situations.
I've
people have to decide whether to.
I've talked with the police chief about this. Somebody has to be dedicated to look at all camera film. You know, there's a process that has to go on here. And it's a question of value versus, you know, cost versus benefit, I mean, to come up with a value on this.
I think given the current climate, there's a value. They're asking for it and there's a value that police are finding it to their benefit as well as the community's benefit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I think if they hadn't been forthcoming in the disclosure of the annual cost, then there might be some reservation, even though there's a huge value to it, obviously. But as long as everybody understands, you know, town-wise, that there is an annual cost associated with, it's not a one-time outfitting fee.
Yeah, but again, I think my opinion is I think the annual cost versus the value of this is a good investment.
Right.
Any other comments?
I was going to say that if there's got to be a person dedicated, the annual cost is just like the storage and maintenance of the storage of these videos or whatever. I think there's a person also attached, but we know we need more police staff.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's in discussing it with the chief, it's a little more complicated than just storing. They have to make sure the pixels are right, so the identification of the people involved is clear. It's from a technological point of view, it can be complicated. But again, you know, this is my opinion, investment versus value. I think it's a good investment. Any other comments? If none, let's move to a vote. Beretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Article 10, stormwater infrastructure improvements. May I have a motion?
I will recommend, I move to recommend that the town vote to transfer $135,000 from free cash for the purpose of completing assessments and improvements to the municipal storm water infrastructure system as written in the warrant.
Second.
And second, any discussion?
Was that Beth? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I
Blumberg,
spaced
yeah.
out of the first
Blumberg,
second.
second.
Okay, thanks.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Beretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Moving on to Article 11, town sewer system updates.
I move to recommend the town vote to transfer from sewer retained earnings the sum of $1,800,000 for the purpose of completing assessments and improvements to the municipal sewer system, as written in the warrant.
There a second?
I will second that. Oh, or Hank, give Hank the second. He's been our liaison.
All right, we'll give Hank the second. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Beretti, yes.
Lundberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Moving on to Article 12, improvement to the town of Westborough's treatment plant.
I move
All
to,
right.
you want to do it?
Nope, go ahead.
I move to recommend the town vote to raise and appropriate. Oh, is this, this one is borrow?
Yes.
This is a borrow article. We should be talking about borrowing.
Sorry, I'm reading off the warrant. I apologize. I move to recommend the town vote to borrow the sum of $4 million for the purpose of undertaking capital repairs and improvements to the Westborough wastewater treatment plant and engineering sources with the monies borrowed under Article 21A of the, combined with the monies borrowed under 21A of the May 12, 2007 annual town meeting, as written in the warrant.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, moving on. Vote, Beretti, yes.
Lundberg, yes.
Ford, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Moving to Article 13, the extending of the contract for the electric vehicle charging stations.
Didn't we vote last meeting on this?
We did.
Already do this.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten up
Yes.
to the non-monetaries.
We did. Thank you. Wow.
I just want to point out that there was a minor change that they actually wrote out electric vehicle in parentheses EV from before.
Ah,
If they wanted it clarified,
That's good.
but I don't think we need to revote that.
No, I don't think we need to.
I'd support that too.
Okay. We're done with the monetary.
Well, what we didn't vote on Article 12. Did
did.
we?
Yes, we
Oh,
did.
that's the one Beth just did. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I know what happens. Mine
You got it at
flips around.
16 if you want.
Yeah.
No, my copy that I printed out. Oh, it's just a double page. Never mind. I'm good.
So we did 14 and 15. I'm
I
sorry,
think the next article is number 16.
16,
16.
town seal.
I'll give-
I have a motion.
I move to recommend the town vote to establish a town seal review committee consisting of a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 9 residents appointed by the moderator, said committee to, as written in the warrant. Unless you want all the details.
I'm sure he can pick them out of the warrant when he does the minutes.
Bradley, second.
Okay, we have a second. Discussion.
This is the one that changed, right? So I'm trying to read through the latest one to see if it reads the same as how John characterized it.
Yeah,
You all want to take time to read this right now?
you could give people a minute to read. I thought it was exceptionally well rewritten. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
makes
this
sense
is,
now.
this is now asking for a report and recommendation to future town meetings on whether or not to recommend the town adopt a new town seal. And then
Okay.
if the recommendation is to do a new town seal, it includes a process. So it's very well enclosed.
And it's very clear now what the mission is.
Yeah, they're not
Before it was
supposed
a
to-
little strange.
they're not supposed to go beyond this. So
Well,
it's
They're
clear now.
not recommending the actual seal. They're basically saying, we either need one or we don't. And if we need one, here's a process to get it.
Well, that's what John said it would, and that's why I wanted to read it to see if that was true.
Yeah.
And it is.
There's a, just jump, go ahead, Hank.
I mean, it has essentially no financial implications at this point.
No.
It's a committee to make recommendations at town meeting. Until recommendations are made and adopted, there's no financial impact.
The committee's process, the committee will engage in a process to find out if the town has, I'm going to use the word appetite, an appetite to change the seal. And if so, then they will recommend the seal be changed and a process of constructing the new seal go forward. So there is a staged process. It still has to come back before town meeting. And I think when it comes to, and this is my opinion, first of all, when it comes to the changing of the seal, they've got to identify a monetary cost, because there's going to be, with all of the trucks and the automobiles and whatever has to be changed. And so I'm hoping that in this process, they do identify the cost involved with doing this.
A count of how many of those plaque thingies on the sides of vehicles and stationary or whatever.
Okay, so that as a new element, I don't think that is covered in this.
John indicated he planned on having the committee look at that. And there's public forum, so that could be brought to that committee.
And the consultation with a diverse group of stakeholders, we can be one of the diverse groups who says we want to know the cost.
Right. There's also a way of going how quickly you implement it. You can change the seal and change only new vehicles. And the implementation of it is also
open.
Everything's open.
Hank?
We're not committing to a new town seal. We're saying we want a committee to recommend if we need a new town seal. And if they think we do, they propose a process. When they propose a process, the process would have to include financial implications. The town meeting could choose to accept a process recommendation that doesn't include financial implementations. If the town meeting so chooses, they deserve what they get. I mean, if you give people a blank check, you deserve to be ripped off. I mean, if they come back with a process that proposes and has costs in it, then we can take rational action.
Any other comments, Melanie? You have your hand up?
Yeah, I'm just curious what is the push in this town for a new town seal?
It's not. Go ahead,
Eli Whitney's invention of the cotton gin had enormous impact on the Black community because it enabled the cotton economy in the South. So people believe that it's a racist symbol.
It enabled the economy of the South?
Cotton was
it enabled.
Wait, one person at a time, please. Melanie, you have the floor.
No, I was just, I'm listening to Hank's interpretation, and having grown up in the South and having learned about Eli Whitney through history every single year, I don't understand why you would pull somebody who came up with something revolutionary. And if you knew about cotton and the elements in the South, I'm not sure that you would be so quick to say it was a bad invention.
I agree with you, Melanie. I think you belong on the committee. But there are a number of people who have drawn a distant relationship between Eli Whitney inventing the cotton gin. If he hadn't invented the cotton gin, somebody else would have. And if we didn't have a cotton gin, we'd have had some other machine. But that's part of what people have to wrestle with: is why do we need to change the seal?
Which is why we're having the committee, in part.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But the other piece of this, so Eli Whitney was really famous for having removable part, like
interchangeable parts.
Thank you. I was looking for the right buzzword. Thank you. Interchangeable parts. The cotton gin made cotton a far more profitable crop in the South. So it was, prior to that, it was almost a dying out crop. And
no, it was not dying. It was very expensive. If we didn't have if there hadn't been a cotton gin, we'd all still be wearing Lindsay Woolsey.
I know we all have opinions, but let's let people
Yeah.
have a
But
chance.
this is why this is up for discussion.
But again, you're saying that the change of a seal in something that a town should be very proud of. You have the originator of somebody, it was an industrial revolution. What he developed changed America. It would be not dissimilar to something Benjamin Franklin came up with.
But not all of his things were equally good. So you can enjoy the interchangeable parts without enjoying the cotton gin.
No, clearly you don't know
Other people
about cotton.
talk.
You don't know about the harvesting
one
of
at a
cotton.
time.
You don't know about the elements of the South. You speak from a position of living up in the Northeast, and maybe you don't know as much about that region of the country. But that is a piece of equipment that y'all should be proud of.
I have a hand up. Walter has a hand up.
Jody.
I watched the Westborough Historical Society, Carrie Mulrain did a program on Eli Whitney, and I meant to send that link out to this committee. Did it go to this committee? It must have gotten trapped in my sandbox, and I'll send it to you because it was really interesting to me. And I think of, the cotton gin was one of many of his inventions, and many other historical Westborough relatives of his inventions. And I just can't fathom that the cotton economy would have happened and we would have gone from linen and wool to polyester. I just think cotton would have happened anyway. And this was one of his many inventions. I think actually we can be proud of Eli Whitney but for this and many other innovations that were introduced. But I think the committee is going to find out about this. And also Walter said something about how that, and I'm going to let you clarify how that we came to that town seal. And it wasn't in a sophisticated, deeply thought way we came to that town seal, but it could be that we could update the Westborough's relationship to Eli Whitney and other things from the perspective of innovation. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I think it's worthy of study, but I share some of your concerns too, Melanie.
Walter?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One is he was born here, but he didn't do any of this work here. It's very unrelated to Westborough. I think he is far more important for having done interchangeable parts. And I think you could look at the seal and come up with something that honors him without necessarily the cotton gin. It does cause angst for some people. Further, I do recommend, in addition to Historical Society program, Tony Vaver, our historical librarian, did a very good history, short but readable history on our town seal and how it started and how it was changed in the 70s to the more modern one. And I actually prefer the original one to it anyway. But, the whole point is this committee can dig into all that and educate everybody. And I think there may be merit to a change. I don't particularly like the current one, but other people do. So it's a discussion, and I think this lets public have input. So I'm in favor of forming a committee.
Any other comments? Discussion? I think we got some, in the last 5 minutes, we got some quick education, folks.
So I have my hand up. I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump.
Andrew, go right ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I think that the times dictate the fact that if we need to do some introspection to be clear about what we're doing, that it is beholden upon us to allow a broader diversity of input than we have than the folks in this room, and to listen and get an educated and informed perspective about how to move forward. I see no harm in soliciting that broader perspective from folks, however that turns out to be. And to spurn that, I think, is to take a step back in an open mind.
I don't hear anybody spurning that. My opinion.
Oh, I agree.
My opinion is that I'm in favor of the committee, but I think that a public forum or several public forums are absolutely required to get as many town folks involved as we can, so we do have a real diversity of opinion. Okay.
Absolutely. I think you've said shortly what it took me a longer time to say, so thank you.
All right. Any further? Jody? Your hand?
Nothing further. Oh, I have put my hand down. I'm all set.
Put your
Thank
hand
you.
down.
I will.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we will go to a vote. We're ready? Yes.
Lundberg, yes.
Board abstain.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
Hank?
They were mute.
Roche, yes.
Okay. 801. And, you know, Melanie, I think you should be one person on that committee.
That I don't want to hear. A Mississippi girl is not fit for that committee.
I think you bring a perspective that we probably need to hear. Moving on to, I think the only one we have left, folks, is the article on the
Animal control?
the animal control on poultry.
We have 27 and 28 also, Michael.
Do we? We
Golf
didn't-
safety netting and tree maintenance.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. If you would like to take the weekend to read this article in depth, we can wait and hold it until Monday. Otherwise, we should get a motion and a discussion.
May we solicit from somebody what the change is? Because we had a good, thoughtful conversation about this. And without the benefit of having seen what was all discussed, I don't want to take for granted that I know what the little tweaks were made or what the important ones were, changes that is.
Well, I'm meeting with Christy tomorrow on another matter, but I can certainly ask her and bring it back to you on Monday.
Yeah, let's look at it Monday.
But I agree.
Appreciate
I don't
that.
want
Thank
to
you.
read through the whole thing trying to figure it out. Although I guess I could do a thing in Word, a
I'll
comparison.
tell you what, if she gives me the information we need tomorrow, I will email you over the weekend and you could take it into consideration when you read it and we discuss it on Monday. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yes, Walter.
I agree that we revisit it on Monday, but technically we've already voted for it. So if we don't want to make any changes, we probably don't have to revote it, or could again if you want. But
Well,
We voted it?
we voted.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
We voted it
and
at
then
the
things
last
happened.
meeting. But it is appropriate, since it's changed, to revisit it.
I think
It ended up not changing that much, but
I think it's appropriate that we do revisit it on Monday. And if we
Did
want
I
to
ask
vote it-
Melinda, our animal control officer, if she can summarize the changes? Or were these more upper level legal and that type of thing?
some of it was all proposed by the town council and discussed extensively. Again, if you want to watch it for an hour on the selectmen's
watched this
meeting,
whole thing.
Melinda mostly seemed to, if I can speak out, I think a lot of what the changes was she was not in favor of, and some of those changes were removed that she was not in favor of.
Okay, anything further? Okay, we'll revisit it on Monday.
Melanie, you're muted.
Pardon?
Melanie's muted, but she's
I just want to, there was nothing in place before this, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Paul, I'm sorry, Walter, 27 and 28 and 29?
No, 29's done, just 27, 28.
27, 28. Thank you for reminding us. So Article 27 is the golf safety netting. May I have a motion?
We get there first.
27? Nope.
I move we vote to recommend to the town that they transfer from country club retained earnings the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of replacing the safety netting golf course.
There a second?
I'll second
Bradley,
that.
second. Oh.
You pick it, Walter.
I don't feel bad.
Okay, Jody's done a lot. We'll give Andrew.
Discussion?
Did we learn any more about $25,000 for netting?
We did not. I have no communication from the town.
Paul, are you comfortable now with this amount?
Well, I'm comfortable with Hank's answer, which was that they'll bid it and hopefully get, whatever it is, 3 bids. And if it's not that, because I found the netting for $4,000 just for the net, but anyhow, I'm comfortable based on what Hank said.
Okay.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Melanie?
Yes, sorry.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
900. Article 28, tree maintenance. May I have a motion?
We didn't vote this one?
All right. Anyone else? I'll do it. I will recommend that the town vote to transfer from free cash and appropriate the sum of $21,000 for the purposes of tree maintenance as written in the warrant. For tree maintenance in the downtown area as written in the warrant.
Do we want
This is
to?
Andrew.
There a
May I
second?
clarify from the,
Go ahead, Andrew.
I guess I was hoping to clarify from the motion. I heard vote from free cash and then appropriate as well. I didn't know if that's just a phraseology,
Oh,
but I
no.
believe this is a free cash.
It's free cash, you're correct.
Yep.
All right, vote to transfer from free cash. Well, you transfer it from free cash and then it gets appropriated. But the source,
But the terminology is transfer from free cash.
Yep,
okay.
okay. Do we take-
Bradley, second in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Any comments or discussion? We'll move to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Actually, I
Oh,
guess
sorry,
I have a
Beth. Go
question.
ahead. Go ahead.
Do we want our motion to be, but not limited to, I mean, the way Jody read it out loud, it sounded like she did limit it to the downtown area, but the article says, but not limited to the downtown area.
Primarily in, but not limited to. You're correct. We should probably amend.
Gotcha.
Aimed at-
All right, let me skip that out and put as written in the warrant.
Sorry, Jody.
Let's amend.
That's very good. I did. I skipped to this piece. I thought they were doing the Rotary.
Ladies and
They
gentlemen,
are.
ladies
But
and
once they
gentlemen,
have the arborist on his
Ladies-
dime, they get to get other plants.
ladies and gentlemen, we had a motion and a second. Is this an amendment to the motion?
This is an amendment to get rid of that limited to.
Okay, so Jody, do you want to make the amendment to your motion?
It's a friendly amendment. I will accept the friendly amendment. So Walter, do you have, go back to my original motion for the purpose of tree maintenance as written in the warrant?
Yes, thank you.
That's good.
Okay, yep.
That's all Walter's writing down as written in the
It's written in
warrant.
the warrant. The only thing we did was say whether it was cash or the other thing. I think other than that, it's all listed in the warrant, right?
Any other discussion? If not, we'll go to a vote. Moretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Roush, yes.
Siddiqui, yes.
So we're 900. So that concludes our review of the articles, except for 1, 2, and 26. And as I said earlier, I have not been able to pull together the remainder of the R&R pending discussion with Leah and Christie tomorrow, and I will do my best to get that to you over the weekend so you have a chance to read through the entire R&R again. Go ahead, Beth.
Just got feedback from Melinda on the animal board, the poultry bylaw, if you want to hear it.
Sure, go ahead.
She wrote, I had nothing to do with those changes. My understanding is that selectmen decided to take out all references to permitting, but there are still some changes in enforcement section that I'm not sure why not sure why what was there March 23rd was changed so much. I suggested the fine amounts based on the state minimums for dogs by law violations as revised in 2016 state law revision, and she's writing more, but so she was not an active participant in creating the changes is what it sounds like.
The changes were from the town council and Christie basically, and then, but she was a participant in the discussion on it. And yes, I agree.
Is there value, folks, in having a copy of this exchange for your reference only over the weekend?
Are you referring to the one from that was just sent to Beth?
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. She's writing more. She thinks
it just sounded like she wrote "it wasn't me" and then followed up with a lot of "it wasn't me." So
no.
I would still like to hear the feedback for what changes there were.
Yeah,
Okay,
she thinks the set fines should be listed. The original her original recommendations months ago may have recommended a fine structure that was putting in too much at once, and I think they took it out and now they put it back in.
We need to remember, I mean, I think it'd be good to understand the differences, but we need to remember our action is to either accept the entire article as it is or reject the entire article as it is. We're not empowered to change the wording or the context of the article. If we would choose to do that, we would need to do that on town meeting floor.
Well, I understand that, but in order to accept it, I want to make sure I know what I accepted because I accepted version 1 and this is version 2.
I agree.
I will get information for you tomorrow.
So Michael, I imagine they must have, for the selectmen, ended up with a new red line. Maybe we can get a copy of the red line. We have the copy of the final, obviously, and that would help us.
I will do my best to get you all the information you need to vote on this article. And I do recommend, for information purposes only, that Beth share the exchange she's just had with the animal control officer. Okay. All right.
So I'll
Moving
do that by email after the meeting versus in chat now?
Don't put it in chat now. Email it after the meeting, please.
Okay.
So we have it as an FYI.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Next order of business, future draft agendas.
Hold on 1 second. I got to get back to the notebook. Thanks. Okay. Go ahead.
So I recommend we have a meeting Monday night to once more go over the R&R and clarification and vote on Article 26 and Articles 1 and 2.
That's May 3rd,
That is
Monday, May 3rd.
May
Yep.
3rd. I would ask you to hold Thursday, May 4th, 5th, 6th in your calendars, pending our meeting on Monday night. My hope is that we can get the R&R finalized on Monday night and get these other 3 articles finalized on Monday night and then not meet again until town meeting. Any objections or concerns about that?
Sounds good.
Okay, so it's going to be a compressed time to do a little bit of reading. Any other comments or concerns? We move on to liaison reports. Any liaison reports?
I just came out of the 10th meeting of the Westborough Master Plan Advisory Committee. And so there is a reminder that public survey number 2 continues to be available on the town website. So look for westboroughmasterplan.com or go to the Westborough town website and look for the Westborough Master Plan for public survey number 2. And there is an instruction page that has been added. The feedback form is very long and complicated, but it is best for the responder to log in and register at the site. And then you can save any progress you've made on your survey and return to it. It also makes it much easier to navigate in the survey if you have registered and logged in. And at that point, you're welcome to complete one or a few or all of the sections. But we really highly encourage the public to respond through public survey number 2 on the goals and actions that as they currently stand for the Westborough Master Plan.
Thank you, Jody.
Jody, when is it open till?
I think it's got couple of more weeks. I don't know what the end date is. Let me see if I can find out for you.
So was that your liaison report?
That was my liaison report. That's the committee I'm serving on right now.
Any other liaison reports? Let's move to public reminders. Jody, would that also satisfy?
That would also be my public reminder.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Beth?
Vaccinations. Westborough's doing well as a town. So get vaccinated, wear your masks, social distancing, stay healthy, and possibly we'll have new rules regarding outdoors.
Tomorrow. Yes.
I have another public reminder, or just to fill in for Walter's question, May 10th is the deadline on the public survey. May 10th. Yep.
Anyone else? May I have a motion to adjourn? This was a good meeting, folks. Very good meeting. The only thing we have to do is, I know we all want to jump in, is give people a chance to finish their comments. It's a little difficult when you're doing it remotely. So, okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second.
Bradley, second.
You all want to stay in the meeting. Okay. Bradley, second. Move. Any discussion about adjournment? Wonderful. Move to a vote. Beretti, yes.
Blumberg, yes.
Board, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Hensley, yes.
Eagle, yes.
Leslie, yes.
Hank?
Mute.
You're mute, Hank.
Yes, sorry.
Siddiqui, yes.
Wonderful. 900. We are adjourned, folks, and see you Monday evening.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Wonderful.